1 month ago tonight, I was sitting around a campfire in Haiti, making s'mores with the kids at God's Littlest Angels Orphanage and the 10 passionate women who had made the Soul Journey to Haiti with me. As coordinator of Soul Journey, one of my goals is to design trips that would empower, encourage, and inspire not only the women on our teams, but the GLA staff and the Haitian women we meet along the way. It takes passion and a sense of purpose to put these trips together. But before I could start, I had to go on a soul journey of my own. Mine began on August 27th, 2007. I remember that day like it was yesterday. We had just left home for a job interview in Atlanta. It was 10 a.m., way too early for my husband to be slurring his words as he talked on the phone. I didn't need any more proof that he'd already been drinking that morning, and with an uncanny, really strange sense of calm, I closed my eyes, I said a prayer, and I told him to take me home. I was finally ready to make the decision that life on my own would be better than life in the chaos that had taken over our 36-year marriage. In the quiet of the car that morning, the decision seemed really easy to make. But the months and years that led up to that decision had not been quite so simple. In trying to make sense of life in a home controlled by alcohol, I had become bitter, angry, and resentful. I'd perfected the art of walking on eggshells, and my self-esteem and my dreams had gone down the tubes. Memories of all our good years faded as I became consumed with the pain of the last few. I was sucking the life out of my closest friendships as I bored my friends daily with detail after detail of my life as a victim. Though my friends were really sympathetic, I'm sure they were really thankful for caller ID. During those years, I learned that there are many ways to numb pain. Oh, I would have never used alcohol. You see, my grandfather was an alcoholic, and I'd heard a lot of stories about his late-night binges and the effect they had on my mother, my uncle, and my grandmother. But I discovered my own ways to numb the pain: eating a lot, working a lot, traveling a lot, and even getting overly involved in church work. I craved attention, and I tried to control whatever and whoever I could. But what I realize now is that while I was numbing the pain, I was also numbing the joy. On that August morning in 2007, when I knew that life was over, as I knew it was over, what I didn't realize was that it had just begun. God had not only given me the courage to say, I'm done, but the compassion to see the pain that Gary was in, and the willingness to help him find a residential treatment program when he said he was ready to get help. I finally realized that the choice to stay or leave was mine, and I chose to stay. And then I began a slow journey back to joy. I began to focus on myself, and instead of telling friends I was just fine, I learned to be specific about what I needed, and the answer was almost always the same. Well, one of two: chocolate or Chipotle. After I just told you I had a problem with overeating. Okay. So on days when I was too exhausted to get dressed, my friends would show up at my door and refuse to leave until I got dressed and joined them for a walk. Friends and family prayed for me, drove me to Al-Anon meetings so I didn't have to go alone, and even took me to the riverboat to mindlessly feed the slots. Our kids were grown and living out of town. One called daily just to check in and make sure I was okay. The other was supportive, but more distant, and sent daily letters of encouragement to Dad. I wish I could tell you that I wrote letters too, but I didn't. Gary received a lot of letters from family and friends while he was in rehab, but not one of them was from me. Looking back, I'm not very proud of that, but I trust it was part of my journey learning how to detach. After 28 days in rehab, my husband's counselor joyfully called and said, "Your husband's ready to come home." Home? Are you kidding me? I'm not ready for him to come home yet. Not much had changed, except geography. He was in Minnesota and I was in Champaign. I was seeing a counselor, but really spent almost all of my time talking about him and his drinking. Those first few months after rehab were really, really hard as we navigated a new world for both of us, learning to set new boundaries and stay in our own lanes. Our counselors told us to mind our own business. He should work on his recovery and I should work on mine, but that we needed to find a way to share space together without talking about our issues. So what did we do? Together, we watched 3 full seasons of 24. I'll forever be grateful to Jack Bauer for providing us with drama that did not include us. I'd be lying if I said it was fast or easy. It took many months until I felt things really begin to change. It had nothing to do with Gary and everything to do with me. On the journey back to joy, I had to learn to forgive and put resentments behind me. I had to learn about the disease of alcoholism and the effect it had on each one of us in our family. I had to learn how to give up my victim role and how to accept responsibility for the ways I had contributed to the chaos in our home. Now, 8 years later, I can say that I'm proud of the work we've put into this. On August 27th of this year, just 2 months after our 44th wedding anniversary, Gary celebrated 8 years of sobriety. He now leads a ministry for others struggling with hurts, habits, and hang-ups. I lead the women's recovery group and have just returned from my 3rd soul journey to Haiti. Now that's a miracle. As I packed for this Haiti trip, I was amazed to see how much I could fit into my backpack. 8 years ago, I was lugging around so much dead weight that there was no room for joy or the cameras I used to see the world. Back then, my backpack was loaded down with resentments, anger, hurts from my childhood, need for approval, low self-esteem, and pride. Some of those burdens I'd put there myself, and some were added by family members and others. It's incredible to see how much lighter my load became when I got rid of all that dead weight. These days, I pack light, free of the hurts of the past, with a keen sense of purpose and joy. I love to see how God has used every detail of my life, the pain of those years of chaos, my years as a photographer, my friendships in this community, everything in creating a new purpose for my life. I am confident that had it not been for the pain, I would not have experienced the joy. When I left for Haiti last month, a friend surprised me with this bracelet. The tag reads, "For every woman who has struggled, questioned, realized, believed, accomplished, and triumphed, trust your journey." I am that woman. I have finally learned to trust my journey. My soul and my home are filled with joy again.